Coming up on Naperville News 17, DuPage County keeps a watchful eye for coronavirus. A local author gets a special stamp of approval, and some area seniors get pampered with some polish. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for this week's Naperville News. The DuPage County Health Department recently held a press conference to address concerns about potential coronavirus exposure in our county. Our own Christian Canizal was there and tells us what was said.
Karen Ayala, the executive director of the health department, said they're monitoring those who had traveled to Wuhan, China, where the novel coronavirus originated in December, as well as DuPage residents who had contact with an Illinois woman who's confirmed to have the coronavirus. Her spouse is also confirmed to have the coronavirus.
Rather than serve as a point of concern, I would hope that this provides residents and our partners with a sense of reassurance that we are actually taking active measures to control the spread of this novel disease.
DuPage health officials did not say how many people they're monitoring, but so far none have shown any symptoms for the coronavirus. Ayala estimated that the health department will most likely monitor more people in the coming weeks, but the risk of others contracting the virus is low if they had not traveled to Wuhan or have not had contact with those who have the coronavirus. What's more likely to happen is residents catching the flu.
We have had 32 cases of seasonal flu since last September, and those are cases that have required intensive care hospitalization. Of those, we've had 6 deaths.
Community members are urged to take preventative measures like washing your hands and covering your mouth when you cough to avoid contracting the coronavirus or the flu. The DuPage County Health Department said residents don't need to change their daily lives, but the Centers for Disease Control recommends avoiding traveling to China. For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
The World Health Organization has declared coronavirus a global health emergency. The DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, led by Naperville's Mayor Steve Chirico, plans to ask the state to increase sales tax funds returned to municipalities. For years, the Illinois state government shared 1% of its sales tax with local governments, where the tax was collected. That changed several years ago when Illinois reduced the amount returned to municipalities. Last year, the state gave back half of what was originally taken, but the municipalities are asking for the same amount they used to receive.
Now we are really asking the state to reinstate the full 1% that was promised to municipalities from the beginning. And so the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference has added that item as their #1 legislative priority to in this next session to get that money back to the municipalities.
Chirico said that money could be as much as $700,000 for Naperville, which would be used to fund services the public use every day, like garbage pickup, roads, and public safety. The DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference will join the Illinois Municipal League and others in lobbying for the tax revenue. After a tragic killing at a Lisle Cigar Lounge on January 24th, one Naperville restaurant decided to do what they could to help. Police say 51-year-old Lisa McMullen shot 3 men at the Humidor Cigar Lounge, killing Gregory Reeves, a retired state trooper, before shooting herself in the head. She died on the scene. The other 2 victims, one a fellow retired trooper and the other a current trooper, were taken to Edward Hospital for treatment. When Karen LeVere, owner of Balboa's Cheesesteaks in Naperville, heard about it, she wanted to help.
We go there, and we know quite a few people that go there, so it really hit home with me.
LeVere hand-delivered cheesesteaks to the recovering victims and their families, as well as the hospital nursing staff.
But just wanted to let them know, we're here. We wanted to put a little smile on your face. We can't do much. You do so much for us. You went through a terrible, terrible ordeal, and maybe we could feed you.
A small kindness to make a dark time a little brighter. Naper Settlement wants to share your story for Her Story. This year, Naper Settlement is promoting the Her Story campaign, a celebration of not just women's history, but also women's role in shaping our future.
Her story is our ability to be able to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of women's suffrage. This commemoration is really important for us to take a moment to look back and to look forward about the accomplishments that women have made, because we have always been there.
The settlement hopes to gather 100 stories about 100 women in the Naperville community, submitted via their website. The stories will then be shared, complementing the Women's Wave of Change exhibit coming to the settlement this November. You can go online to send in a 250-word recommendation for a woman or women that you feel have made a significant contribution to our community, whether through business, school, family, or community engagement. A new business has opened its doors to local residents and their best friends.
1, 2, 3.
With a snip of the scissors, the new Lazy Dog restaurant and bar is officially in business. The new eatery in the Heritage Square Shopping Center on Route 59 features seasonal American fare for diners and specialized snacks for their four-legged companions.
We have an amazing menu for our pups, and it's food for people that we serve to dogs, not dog food per se. But we also offer membership for dogs called Pepper's Pack, and Pepper is the name of the Sims family dog, Chris Sims being our founder. So it's a really amazing way to give something special to your canine best friend in the family, and those are just organic treats and snacks that we handpick and put together.
The dog-friendly venue has a full patio area where furry friends are welcome to come and sample the service. There's also a full bar with craft beer and cocktails and a beer club.
We also want you to feel as though you can leave your troubles at the door and the chaos that's outside, and when you're here, we want you to feel as though you're a lazy dog.
We should note dogs are only allowed in the patio area, so you won't be hounded in other sections of the restaurant. After the break, Edward Hospital steps up their efforts against opioid abuse.
What's the matter, boy? What are you trying to tell me? Is something wrong?
We live in a safe community, but not a crime-free community. If you see something, say something.
Naperville Animal Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report a case of animal cruelty and neglect.
Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves.
Enjoy the Naperville Municipal Band's summer concert series? Well, now you can follow the band's more than 150-year history in the truly noteworthy documentary the band plays on. Now available as a podcast.
A Naperville resident was recently awarded with a Newberry honor. Naperville News 17's Christian Canizal has the honor of presenting us with her story.
Usually, 5:30 a.m. phone calls aren't great, but for Jasmine Warga, it turned out to be one of the best ones of her life. The Naperville author was awarded with a Newberry honor by the American Library Association for her novel, Other Words for Home.
I've pretty much been on and off in grateful tears since then. It still feels really stunning to me. I remember running my fingers over the stickers on the books that I read when I was a kid, and so I'm still kind of in a state of complete shock and just so much gratitude to the committee for recognizing the book in this way.
The excitement for the Cincinnati Natives Award was on full display by an Ohio school she visited in the fall.
Newberry honor.
It's that type of excitement that will change Warga's life, as oftentimes teachers and librarians recommend Newberry books to read. Geared for middle schoolers, the book is about a Syrian refugee adjusting to her new life in the U.S. It's the third book the 31-year-old has written, but it was delayed for a season because Wagner rewrote it at the last second.
Initially, the book was written in the way that like a traditional novel is in paragraphs. And so really late in the game, my editor and I both made the decision to switch the book into verse.
Other Words for Home made history
as it was the first time the Newberry honor went to a book with a Muslim protagonist. And it was also the first time the honor went to an Arab American author.
I think for so long, children of color in this country haven't gotten to see themselves as heroes in the story. And so I think like seeing myself like that, or a girl who looked like me, that's what that would have said to me, that like you can follow your dreams and you can be the protagonist of your own story.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
Warga is working on her next book called Shape of Thunder, which is set to hit shelves next year. Naperville Neighbors United once again explored the topic of implicit bias. Dr. Adrienne Coleman, Director of Equity and Inclusion at the Illinois Math and Science Academy, led the discussion. Her presentation incorporated lots of participation from the audience and covered topics like how everyone has different biases.
A lot of times people think when you discuss bias, it's something negative. You're putting them down. And that's definitely not true. If you think about bias and you think about how we've been socialized, we're all born free of thought, free of perspective. But then you begin to hear different messages over time. And based on those messages, they're either very positive or negative about different groups of people.
Coleman also said each person is privileged and oppressed in different ways, and it's up to us to use our privileges to help others who aren't. Naperville Neighbors United is co-hosting a discussion of the book White Fragility by Dr. Robin DiAngelo on March 19th. All are welcome to attend. This month, the Naperville Police Department is highlighting 2 of their firearm safety programs. According to Pew Research, 4 in 10 adults say they live in a household with a firearm. That's why the NPD has made a new partnership this year.
The Naperville Police Department, in partnership with Project Child Safe, will begin distributing free firearm safety kits available at the front desk of the police department.
Each kit includes a cable-style gun lock, instructions, and additional resource material. Once the lock is installed, the weapon cannot be used. The other way the NPD is trying to reduce risk of misuse, potential theft, and accidental discharge is through their Firearm Take-Back program.
If you no longer use your firearm or don't want it in your home anymore, you can call the Naperville Police Department, our non-emergency number, arrange for a time to bring that firearm in, or arrange for a private pickup.
If you do bring in your firearm, it needs to be unloaded and left in the vehicle where officers will retrieve it. And for those who have a gun illegally, if you follow the protocol of the program, then you can turn it in without being criminally charged. The Take Back program has some strict guidelines, so it's key to call the NPD so they can help guide you through the steps. The fight against the opioid crisis is ongoing, but Edward Elmhurst Health is doing their part. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski has more.
In 2018, DuPage County reported 98 opioid-related deaths, a number that held relatively steady over a 3-year period. Edward Elmhurst Health has introduced several new initiatives to combat the epidemic, including the Alto computer software, which is designed to help physicians prescribe appropriate medication.
So we're going to see non-opiate medicines listed first, and the physician still has the autonomy to pick what he or she thinks is the best ones, and they're usually very effective.
Alto should help doctors be smarter about who they prescribe opioids to, something Dr. Scaletta said wasn't always the case.
I would say that physicians, quite honestly, have been part of the problem in the past, writing liberally for opiate medicines and writing large quantities.
For those patients who are prescribed opioids, Edward Elmhurst is providing them with multiple options for disposal of unused meds.
We have a lockbox that people can put the medicines in, and then we'll discard them. We also have a way to what we call denature the medicines, render them ineffective by putting them in a bag, and that has activated charcoal. We put water in, and it deactivates those medicines.
To help patients with cravings and other symptoms, Dr. Aaron Wagner at Linden Oaks Behavioral Health said they take a bio-psychosocial approach to opioid addiction treatment.
The biological side, like cravings, the psychological side in terms of coping with problems in a different way and dealing with triggers for use, and then the social side in terms of helping bring healthy people around them and put some boundaries up between them and unhealthy people in their life.
Doing their part to help prevent more opioid abusers at every step of addiction.
We think it's important to be a leader in the community in terms of bringing this problem to as much of a resolution as we can.
Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Dr. Wagner added that reducing the stigma around addiction is a big factor to encourage people to seek treatment for opioid addiction. Coming up, the magic of making on display at the DuPage Children's Museum.
NCTV17.com is the best place for you to stay up to date on your neighborhood happenings. Get your local news and sports all on the go by signing up for our daily news update. Naperville Community Television, keeping you informed.
The Naperville Park District's most recent meeting covered a variety of topics. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski has more.
Naming rights were the talk of the most recent Park District Board meeting. Naperville resident Ray Kinney approached the board asking for Knock Park Field 5 to be renamed to Memorial Field in honor of Justin Wagner, Connor Hunt, and other young athletes who died too early. They would also install plaques in the outfield to honor them.
I think we've come to a great compromise by saying let's call the field the Memorial Field and give other people an opportunity to memorize members of their family or loved ones or people in the community that they felt did something, and have them angels in the outfield along the outfield fence.
The Angels in the Outfield plaques would fall under the Park District's Remembrance Program. Kinney said he also plans to privately fundraise for a new scoreboard for the field, which will be named the Justin Wagner Memorial Scoreboard. He hopes they can finish that before opening day in April.
Eventually, I'd love to see us do one day of a memorial baseball game every year and have the families that are there and do that and kind of celebrate. Maybe it's whatever, maybe not be the championship, but maybe it's opening day or something like that, to do some really cool community gathering. That's what the Park District is all about.
The board also plans to finalize the name 95th Street Community Plaza for the development in South Naperville. A ribbon-cutting event for the plaza is being planned for sometime in May. All three naming considerations will come back to the board after 60 days for a final vote. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Recently, about 400 community members gathered at Northern Illinois University's Naperville campus for the DuPage Environmental Summit. The 15th annual event, hosted by the Conservation Foundation and DuPage County, discussed how climate change is affecting the local area. A topic discussed at the event was the impact flooding has in DuPage County. One exhibit of the 20 that were there illustrated how stormwater disperses throughout high area, represented by the reddish color sand, into the lower sections, which were hues of blue.
But this is very important to help illustrate the different issues that we're currently facing as it relates to stormwater and stormwater both capacity and the location of where you will or will not want to build.
After community members toured other exhibits, Dr. Douglas Stotts, a senior conservation ecologist at the Field Museum, gave a presentation on climate change. He said in the last 30 years, we've seen an increase of 1 degree in the Chicagoland area, but estimates by the end of the century that number could be up to 10.
Even if we got great about our use of carbon tomorrow, which there's no evidence will happen, we'd still have climate change built into the system. So we'll look at probably 4 to 5 degrees regardless.
Stotts said using public transportation and riding a bicycle when the weather permits are ways to reduce our carbon footprint. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office newest deputies may be only 18 months old, but they're getting ready to sniff out crime. The 3 narcotics detecting canines recently arrived from the Netherlands, and the Sheriff's Office reached out to the public for name ideas. Merit is a Belgian Malinois named for the Metropolitan Emergency Response and Investigation Team. Raven is a black lab, and Xena is a chocolate lab. They'll each start 160 hours of training to be able to detect narcotics like heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Inspired by Mr. Rogers' factory tours, the DuPage Children's Museum is helping kids explore the world of making. How People Make Things is the name of the newest exhibit at the museum.
The making movement is a big thing right now for all around the world. So we really wanted children to understand that everyone has creativity. Sometimes it materializes in different ways, but everyone can be creative.
Kids can smash pennies using different presses, wind their own springs, pour wax into molds to make shapes, and even build the trolley from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Just being a part of a children's museum, you just can't help but love Mr. Rogers, right? Everything that he's taught us about kindness and empathy and caring, that's all done around teaching children so much.
A creative outlet for curious kids. The exhibit will be set up through September 6th to give everyone the chance to come and learn about making. Kids Matter introduced a new program to help students reach their career goals. Our own Aisha Ashley Hausa tells us more.
Naperville nonprofit Kids Matter has teamed up with Dealer Inspire to introduce their Career Pathways program. The program partners with local businesses to provide workplace exposure to high school juniors and seniors. At Dealer Inspire, students will get hands-on experience during the 6 weeks of mentoring in the summer.
We know that every student has a pathway, regardless if that student is looking to enter the workforce right after high school, or after a 2-year associate's degree, or after a 4-year college degree. We want each and every student to realize that they have a pathway and there's many roads to success.
What many people don't know is that Dealer Inspire accepts people without college degrees. We believe that a career pathway doesn't have to follow a certain order. Certainly it didn't for my life. By allowing flexibility and having jobs that don't require degrees, it just opens up choices for kids.
To help students find their pathway, around 60 District 203 and 204 students were invited to the program's launch event to learn more about the opportunities at the company. After Dealer Inspire CEO Joe Chura spoke to the group, they toured different departments including accounting, analytics, and customer service. The future workers filled out a questionnaire to gauge their interest and to see if they would be a good fit for the mentoring program. Dealer Inspire will have a lunch and learn on March 13th for selected students to fill out the official job application. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Aisha Ashley Hausa.
Dealer Inspire is the first company to partner with Kids Matter. Kids Matter is in talks with other businesses who would like to join the program.
Using NCTV 17 is an opportunity to get the word out of what you do and what you create and the passion that you have. It'll pay for itself 100-fold because it gives back way more than what you put into it, because it tells you, the customer, exactly what you want them to know, and then they can say, oh, I like that, and go, click, I'm going over there and I'm doing business with you. So I'd recommend coming here immediately.
They're really good at showing and communicating. If you have a business that might be hard to understand, or maybe a class that is better visualized than in print, they are the people to do it.
More than anything, just to get the word out to the community, this station is so connected and it is the one-stop shop for all things local. So NCTV 17 was a no-brainer.
In this case, the crazy knife wielding example. My job is to stab Megan. Megan's job is to not get stabbed. Right?
Everybody has a story, and whether or not they want to share that story is entirely up to them. But as somebody who's teaching it, as somebody who's providing that service, I make it a point to recognize it.
Mike Jazwiak is recognizing the fact that there's a portion of his clientele that share a sobering reality: domestic violence. Jazwiak is the owner of the Krav Gym, a home to Krav Maga classes that teach both practical and effective means of self-defense.
Typically, women that are seeking out a self-defense system are searching it out for a reason, and some of them have some very, very horrible horrible things that they've had to deal with or live through or put up with. And they need something to give them back that confidence, to give them back that ability to ensure that it's now in their hands, not in somebody else's.
6 years ago, Megan Joswiak was looking for a self-defense class. She was preparing to move out of her parents' place to live on her own.
It gives you a positive sense of security. It gives you, women in general, the ability to be able to go out and have fun, and if something were to happen, they know the basics on how to get out of that situation.
Megan and Mike are now married and run the business together. They've created a safe space and informative place for people of all backgrounds and experiences.
I've had about a dozen females tell me about situations that they've been in. I've had, quite a few males tell me about situations that they've been in, and it's actually, the number is quite alarming.
Two types of people come into CROF. You have people that need self-defense or are looking for it, and you have people that are looking to get in shape.
Bart Kolotic falls into the category of wanting to get into shape. The self-defense aspect of the class, an added bonus.
If I'm ever going to use any kind of fighting technique, it's going to be on the street. I've been attacked, unfortunately, before. This is something that I feel I could get a workout and learn something, and learn a martial arts that will protect me. If it comes to that, hopefully it will protect me.
It's super practical, it's effective, and really the instructors are ex-military. So they've not only done it, but they can apply it.
Liz Guzik has been doing Krav for years and has found a home at the Krav Gym. Not only are the instructors experienced, but they keep the atmosphere light and relevant.
Mike and Megan both have black belts. Mike has a lot of experience. He's been in the Army, he's in Army combat, he's done wrestling, he's done many different things, and you can tell he's got a passion for it, and he teaches things that make sense and work.
Not only is it familiar, everybody comes in, everybody's really rooting for you, wants you to do well, but you don't have to be here for a year for that to happen.
And while Krav Maga has built a reputation as a discipline for women to learn self-defense, Mike likes to reiterate that it's for anyone and everyone.
It's the best of everything. It works for everybody. It's not only super simple to learn, it's designed for everybody.
The Krav Gym offers Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and ice boot camp fitness classes in addition to Krav Maga. Truly a place for everyone.
And if you have an idea for a sports story feature, you can let us know at newstips@nctv17.com. And finally, a local nail salon lends a hand to make senior citizens smile. Nail Care Spa on Route 59 recently had a group of seniors from Naperville elderly homes stop by for free manicures at the salon. Staff and seniors shared smiles as they got their nails filed and made their choice of nail polish. The seniors were treated as part of Naperville Elderly Homes on Martin Avenue's Random Acts of Kindness campaign, in which local businesses engage with senior residents leading up to Valentine's Day. For their random act of kindness, there's no doubt that this spa nailed it. And that's what's happening right here in your neighborhood, Naperville. We'll see you next week. Until then, you can catch up on local news by signing up for our NCTV 17 news update, delivered right to your inbox Monday through Friday. Sign-up information is right on our website, nctv17.com.
This week's Naperville News 17 is brought to you in part by the following sponsors. This program is partially funded by a grant from the City of Naperville.